architecture student at Washington State University. I'm in my last year, so yay. Some time, I'm just gonna, kind of read so I can just kind of keep the pace. Both Jordan and I are in the same studio, and for our design studio project back in last spring, we were tasked to reimagine a space for the immigrant community in Rotterdam, near Rotterdam, called Hillesluis. The community is in transition, both from a demographic and development standpoint. There's a sizable group of second and third generations of immigrants, residents with immigrant roots. Their parents are immigrants that are coming of age. There has also been some revitalization efforts going on in adjacent areas that are both welcoming signs to the Hillesluis community, but also there are worries about the impact of gentrification. And in our studio first conducted a pretty in-depth study with the help of our Dutch counterparts, students, and I was particularly interested in the demographic shift of that community. And what I came across was an emerging good-sized demographic of second and third generation residents in the 20s and 30s that are fleeing that area into other areas. And that kind of caught my interest. They still have very close ties to their families, but they're not. But they're leaving that community significantly. On average, these
law school dorm back when the Constitution was being written, and 22 years in my house next door to the esteemed historian we heard this morning, Jeff. And in that time, I did serve as president of Citizens of Pigtown back when the Southwest Community Council adopted the trade name of Citizens of Pigtown, and I often saw the bumper sticker, I live in Pigtown, Washington Village does not exist. I'm the Barry Circle representative to the Southwest Partnership. I want to tell you, I want to begin to get from thank you for all these ideas about Pigtown. We picked what to do in the neighborhood, in the area, and I thank you, and I hope many residents do. And indeed, perhaps it's just like the Boulevards Committee, which I'll discuss in a moment. Hopefully the three communities can have a night or maybe a chance to come and speak for some of you with ideas, to come and speak to the community, the individuals. As I say, I've been here a long time, and many years ago I proposed a Pigtown Plaza at where the Dollar General and everything is. Multi-level, better retail parking, residential, so that if for empty nesters from the university, if I and my wife decide we cannot or no longer want to deal with the steps, and our 1854 housing for such folks, and then with a restaurant on top, and a shiny pig, lit in pink most of the time, but orange for Orioles games and purples for Ravens games. That idea has been improved upon by Pigtown Main Street has proposals out for what to do at the intersection, and great ideas for what to do, and the South Baltimore Gateway has recognized the importance of the intersection. So years already of work of thinking about those things. A couple of years ago, I retired, see the smile, and said it's time, what can we do, whatever. And the three communities right around the intersection, Pigtown, Citizens of Pigtown, Barry Circle, which is what I live in, and Ridgely's Delight, formed something called the Boulevard School. And it focused initially on improving the commercial. And in that group, Boulevard's plural committee, that might be able to hopefully sometime soon, okay, through Christina, the Rotterdam committee, suggest, is it possible to have people come and talk to community members? We started talking about that. And then Hurlbut here, who's going to talk in a moment, who's vice president of Barry Circle and serves on the Boulevards Committee, came up with this idea to actually address the intersection. And that, he's going to elaborate on that in a bit. We also then, and we went back to the communities, because we're really trying to be community connected about what we've done so far and everything. And then we met with the three, this is a story of community activism. I'm not sure if I said at the beginning, kind of getting from these ideas of from where we are to where we want to be, some part of the road of how we get from where we are to where we want to be. And trying to be a community that's active throughout, not just presented a plan at the end with, do you want pink shutters or green shutters, but real community involvement. We met with the three professionals who work in our community. Brad Rogers, who we're going to be hearing from later from the South Baltimore Gateway. Mike Syke from the Southwest Partnership. And the Kim Lane of the Pigtown Main Street. Our three professionals. And at that meeting, Brad had just been in a meeting, we're talking about changes up at Baltimore Street. And we knew the university wanted to make changes at Baltimore Street. And the Catholic school, I think it just reported to Southwest Partnership about their plans, and we realized we need to not just be talking about Martin Luther King and Washington Boulevard, but at least our part of Martin Luther King. And while I may talk about our part of Martin Luther King, that, no question, it can potentially extend beyond. My connections, my activities have been the lower half, but that's just because you got to work with what you got, right where you are. So we, 2 years ago already, started to look for a big meeting to be called, beyond what we as just community people to call. And frankly, we're still waiting for that, but we think it's in process. We started with going to the president of the University of Maryland, Baltimore, and I think, if I understand correctly, that led to one of the councilmen for most of last year. We were expecting that councilman to call a meeting, which never happened. And now one of the senators, who I know was invited to this meeting, I expect him to be calling a broader meeting where we could talk about how do we move on what do we want to do and how do we accomplish it. But in the meantime, the Boulevards Committee that I talked about has created and this is a cumbersome name, and we're in the process of talking about changing the name. But for the moment, it's the Ad Hoc MLK Boulevard Redesign Committee. There will be a quiz at the end, but anyway, but we're talking about changing that. Anyway, and that committee, again, so as not to try to preclude the senator for a bigger meeting, has basically been by the groups improving the edges of Martin Luther King as it is, make it easier to get across, make it look better, do whatever. That may be what has to happen. But we're dreaming big, too. We're dreaming of major change in Martin Luther King. I'm not going to do that. Catch me later, you might get where my personal dream is, but we're hoping for that. And Ben, I think people get excited about that when they see Ben's pictures that are focused just on the intersection of Martin Luther King and Washington Boulevard, but they give you a flavor of maybe something really cool could be done. And we do believe it's not just a pie in the sky dream. I'll get into why maybe money could be found, could be done to make a fantastic MLK that still does the car part, but also connects the communities and maybe even provides acres of new land for development within the city. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm a little soft-spoken. Can everybody hear me okay? I'm just going to go ahead and jump into it. I know the time is limited. So I've lived in the community about 3 years. I live really close to the intersection of MLK and Washington, so this really was something that I wanted to look at and try to create something to kind of spark something in the committee kind of going from it. But anyway, I also wasn't fully prepared to do a presentation today, so I'm just going to kind of breeze through these pretty quickly, and feel free to come up to me after if you have any questions or want to discuss it. So first off, looking at the intersection of MLK and Washington, what the problems are. It's unsafe, it's kind of a break in the urban fabric. Cars, there's a lot of incentive for cars to maintain speed and not slow down, which really adds to how dangerous it is. So this is it. This is, if you're unfamiliar, the Dollar General is right here, the clinic, the 7-Eleven, which is the lights here, Berry Circle, Pigtown. Get everybody oriented. So my first plan was to compress the road, build out more commercial, hopefully more commercial development up against the corner, which would act to kind of bend the road around it, slow traffic down. You can see here. And then I also did a second version of the plan where if this were to get redeveloped as well, what this could do for the community and kind of maintain this urban connection through Ridges to Pigtown. Plan B was taking the road and dividing it almost like two separate one-way streets. Doing kind of the same thing as before, but now also providing a median, a shelter space in the middle. So as you're crossing this rather wide street, you have a spot that you can stop and wait for the cycle of the lights again so you can keep moving. And then, again, the second version with more development. And finally, the last plan, which